Broadcasting live from WorkbenchCon 2022 in Atlanta, it's time for Organization Conversation, brought to you by Wall Control Storage Systems. Wall Control gives you the storage and organization you crave.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Organization Conversation. This is a cool one I'm excited about. I have Donovan and Wes with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves because they'll probably do a better job than I would. And we'll start with you, Donovan. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your channels.
Yeah, my name is Donovan. My channel and my handle on the social medias is Once Upon a Workbench. I'm a geek, I'm a dad, I'm a maker, and I make things that are a combination of those things. So a lot of projects for my kids, a lot of functional projects for around the house. A lot of them are very geek inspired, and that's what I do.
Awesome. And how about you, Wes?
I am Wes from Geeksmithing. It's the handle on all the different social media platforms, as you would expect. I have a YouTube channel primarily that I use as an excuse to buy new materials and tools to sort of explore, in an artistic sense, those different mediums to sort of learn them and find out the pitfalls and see if it's something I want to use for other projects later on. So any excuse to do something new is great, and it's usually also inspired by geek media to get people interested in the video and the content, like let's say Marvel or superhero related things, and then actually learn that they are interested in how the process of making that thing might be interesting to them, when they don't even realize that could be something they're interested in. So just sort of maker related by association. You get them with the hook. Exactly. Yeah. And see what can go from there.
That's what's so cool, having conversations with people at specifically this conference, in this community, is just it's like the curiosity is like what pulls you in, and also the not being afraid to make every project different and challenging. Like that's what everybody wants. Like I think that's what separates this community from other communities. Most people want to master it and then just keep doing the thing they mastered versus like challenging the next step. And so, yeah, I mean, you guys are like the epitome of that. And we haven't even gotten to like the coolest treasure hunt ever. So yeah, let's move on to that. So I'll let you guys explain it, but yeah, they put together this amazing treasure hunt that doesn't even really do it justice, but just layers and layers upon clues, technology, coding. I mean, it's really amazing. So yeah, you guys tell us how that idea came about and what the process was like developing it and putting it in practice here.
It started a couple of years ago at WorkbenchCon in 2019. I was going to be teaching a class on creating interactive content on social media and on YouTube and whatnot. And one of the things that I like to do is things like puzzles and escape rooms and whatnot. And so I thought of putting together what's called an ARG, or an alternate reality game, in preparation for my class that I was going to be teaching on interactive content. So I was like, I wanted to have interactive content in my class about interactive content.
Makes sense.
Yeah, since I was a teacher, I had an opportunity to give a ticket away to WorkbenchCon, and so I created an ARG for my followers and fans to complete all of these puzzles to try and win a ticket to WorkbenchCon. And then that year here at WorkbenchCon, I had an ARG as part of my class. And it went really well. The people that participated in it had fun, and I always, at that moment, I was like, well, I got to do this again next time. It didn't happen until 2 years later, because obviously, we're here, now, whereas we weren't here last year. Otherwise, we would have done it last year. But this year, we wanted to go a little bit bigger. Wes got tied in. I still don't know how he got wrapped up in all this craziness, but him and I worked really hard together to try and make a really immersive, really fun treasure hunt around WorkbenchCon.
Yeah, and it was amazing. I mean, what's the reception, the feedback been, and what sort of inspiration do you have for the next one? Because there's no way it stops after this, I don't think, right? I mean,
I don't think it can.
I don't think so.
The ball is rolling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you can stand in front of it, but it's just going to run you over.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Well, like, I guess we can explain like what it was.
Yeah, that would be great, because it's hard to, it's really, you please explain it, because it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't like see it in action.
We can show you the card, but on radio it just doesn't.
It doesn't translate quite.
So what we did is we printed a series of cards that were kind of fantasy themed. So if you've ever played like Magic the Gathering or like Pokemon, you understand the format of the card where it had a character on front, and then on the back, instead of like information about that character or traits or something like that, we put a puzzle, and that puzzle led to a location. And then on the front of that card, we had an augmented reality marker to utilize your phone to pull up augmented reality.
Right. And the augmented reality is most of what I did in the treasure hunt / scavenger hunt, whatever you want to call it, in addition to some of the artwork on the cards. But the AR part of it, instead of having just a QR code, which you see everywhere nowadays, it's sort of a more in-depth version of that. It allows you to do a lot more sophisticated things.
Like a cube and...
project a cube virtually.
It's like for people listening, it's like, it'd be like if you had a QR code, but then it turned into a cube on your phone. Like you didn't go anywhere. It just turned into a cube and you're like moving it around and reading all the different sides.
Right.
I've never seen that before. So that was the first for me.
It sort of like superimposes the 3D model of the cube on the card that you're holding, and it super glues itself digitally, so to speak, onto the card, and it lets you manipulate it and roll it around and look at all the sides, where we use the sides of the cube as locations to both describe the character that's on the card, because those are friends of ours in the maker community.
That's a whole other cool thing about it, yeah.
So there are some deep cuts for some of the references in there that people would get if they saw them and knew who the people are that we used. But on each side of the cube, we would explain who the person was to lead people to know more about that individual maker. So it's a way to share contacts, which we're all about doing.
Absolutely.
Then the other surfaces, depending upon where they were in the game puzzle, they had additional information that would like help you either solve the clue on the solve the puzzle on the back of the card, or give you additional information that you use in concert with the card information to kind of come up with the code word that you, and the direction and the location where you take this code word and you go to another booth in WorkbenchCon.
Give them the code word.
Give them the code word, and then they give you the next card in the sequence. So everybody starts with the same starter card, and as you progress, you get the next character. So it's like a collection kind of feel to it, and it encourages interaction and communication with a lot of booths that people may or may not have been interested to communicate with the people. So it's a way to sort of get people engaged in a different way than they may be expecting when they first come in.
Absolutely. I mean, what's cool is how it brings the community and the brands together too. So like in our booth, we can say it because it's over now. Can we say? So,
yeah, you just go for it.
Yeah,
so
like our code
spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. So our code word was our tool and die shop or manufacturing plant where Wall Control started, DeKalb Tool and Die. So they had to figure that out and give us that word. So that they've learned a little bit about our brand just in that a little amount of research. And then on the card we gave them is Stephanie, who works with us, and she's just amazing. Does all kind of she's like these guys with just like trying all kind of stuff. And so she was the alchemist on the card. And she's going to go home and make a costume,
I hope so. That'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things that we purposely tried to do is that if we were going to incorporate brands, we wanted this to seem like a benefit to the brands that were participating with us in this game. And so what we did is that part of that solving the puzzle is that you have to go to the company website to learn the history of the company, to find the answer, to get the code word, to then get the next card. And so we were forcing people to the company's website, which, for a company, like anything to get more eyeballs on the website, to learn more about it, brand awareness, all that kind of stuff. We can utilize that as an advantage to work with these companies, and also as a mechanism in the game to also ensure that nobody's like cheating or like forcing their way into like just picking different booths trying to find a card and doing
exactly. Because at the end, at the end of a treasure hunt, there must be treasure, and y'all had a pretty awesome chest of treasure. So yeah, what all was in there? I didn't see all of it, but yeah.
Well, we started out with some stuff that both he and I, Donovan and I, create, and we were going to create the items or have them available for them. So, for instance, Donovan was going to offer a T-shirt that he is well known for creating. He was going to offer that as some swag, and then I am known for creating personalized like stamps of people's logos for their shops, like nice heavy duty stuff. And I was going to create one for a person who won, and it's like an IOU sort of thing. Yeah. And then we were hoping that through communication with other booths, that other people would sort of think this is a cool idea too, and kind of dogpile the prizes in there. And by the end of it, we had $200 gift cards for
Yeah, for Moss Epoxy, there
Us
was
as well. So yeah.
Like almost every booth that was here at the event donated something to the prize pack. So our little chest that was kind of sparsely, filled at the beginning of this ended up being just almost too heavy to carry because there was just so much in it. And the podcast that Wes and I co-host, the Making Geeks podcast, donated an Oculus.
I saw that.
VR headset.
VR headset. Because, AR, VR, we're like, it kind of fits.
Exactly. That's awesome. It was amazing. So I also want to speak to a little bit about, you guys and your individual channels and podcasts as well. What would your, if you were speaking to our customer base, what type of interest and customer would they can probably get a feel from just our conversations, but would be your typical follower and would get value out of your content?
For me, like I said, I'm a dad and I'm a maker. And so a lot of my content, is kind of very specific to being a dad and to being I've made playhouses. I've made things that are based on, Lego properties and whatnot. And right now I'm doing a little series of book nooks for my kids because they're really into book nooks. And so, creating something like that. But the point and the purpose of what I do as a maker is that I want people to build good memories. Because I look back on my own life, and my dad is a craftsman, my mom is a maker herself. Before they called them makers. My mom's a little maker herself.
The OG makers before they were makers.
Yeah, when I started having kids, I was looking back on my own life and realized it's some of my happiest experiences were with my dad, building stuff, or with my mom, sewing stuff and things like that. And I realized that it's that's what I want to do. Because one day I'm only going to be memories for my kids. And so I want to make sure that they're good ones. And I realized that my particular weird set of talents, I can be a maker and I can make things with my kids to build those good memories. And creating content, if I can inspire other people to build good memories, to build a good story. That's kind of my tagline at the end of my videos. Go build a good story. Is that's kind of the point of what I do. And if I can inspire other people to do that, then I did what I'm set out to do.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's very well put. And it's the truth. You will be memories, and that's just the reality. So and the same thing when I think back about my dad and building Pinewood Derby cars and stuff like that. That is what you remember for sure. So what about you, Wes?
It's very similar to Donovan. That's why we get along so well, because we have a lot of commonalities that we didn't even realize when we first met each other, that we have common ground that goes back pretty far. But in my own experience, I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather was a gunsmith, which is my name Geeksmithing is a nod to that.
Awesome. Yeah.
And he was really well known in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia area for being a master gunsmith. And he was so well known that people would he worked for primarily police officers and things, and it was right across from the state police headquarters. So they would bring their weapons and firearms for him to meticulously clean and repair and all that stuff. And I have vivid memories of him clearing a spot on his workbench beside him at his facility and setting out some Lego for me. And he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, and he would basically be a magician. Anytime I had a broken tool or broken toy, I could present it to him, and I'm all sad and brokenhearted, and he just shuts the door and then miraculously hears this thing repaired, and it's like magic.
That is awesome.
So I wanted to be able to have a similar experience for my kids and be a good role model for them to you don't have to throw something away that's broken. That's such a thing in our community or a culture now is throw away, just buy another one. And not to say that's not fun to do, buy some new stuff, but you can build stuff. Anybody can build things if they really set their mind to it. And my channel is often inspired by, like I said before, geek culture, IP sort of stuff like Marvel. Usually it's nostalgia-driven content. And usually the builds that I do often will be way more elaborate than I should have right to make them. Much to my wife's dismay and disappointment. So when we were getting ready to have my son to be born, we were working on the nursery, and I was like, oh, well, it'd be cool if we had some custom stuff in the nursery. And I think about it, and I pitch the idea of, oh, why don't we do like some murals in the nursery, which is not an unheard of thing.
Right.
Murals.
Yeah. So far, it hadn't gotten crazy. Yeah.
No. And the latest Mario Kart game was announced at the time. This was many years ago, and they had elements where they had stuff on upside down in the game. So like in the game, you would like flip upside down, and that was interesting for the game. And I'm sitting there thinking, like imagining the murals. I'm like, well, what if there was parts that went upside down? So what if I did some tracks on the ceiling, for the murals, the paintings to go on? That's an interesting thing. And then of course my brain keeps thinking of stuff, and I end up sculpting a 4-foot Mario and a cart out of blue insulation foam and mounting it physically on the ceiling. And this is before I had a 3D printer. It's all handmade with LED lighting. Like if you're familiar with Mario Kart 8, when you go upside down, the tires rotate horizontally and they glow blue. Mm-hmm. So I have LED lights within that and glowing, and it was as elaborate as I could make it. I have like suspended coins from the ceiling that rotate. They're like attached with a fishing line, and they spin. And I have like fake grass on the ceiling that are actually checkerboard grass, which is surprisingly hard to get.
I'm sure. Man, your kids' friends have to be like, that's the coolest house. I want that, Dad. And they're like, come on, stop doing that, Wes. I'm showing me up. So
and that was something I really wanted to have my son and my daughter, for instance. I had some stuff in her rooms as well through her adolescence. And so I just want, again, build some good memories for them and for myself and our family, and then inspire other people to do the same. We had a couple of comments as we deal with a lot of people online, like trolls and whatnot, when we post things. Of course, on Reddit, you're going to end up with a lot of comments of good and bad. But some of the number of 30-year-olds that offered to come live at my house was probably more than I anticipated. But those are some great comments. They also said, "What if he's a Sonic fan?"
Yeah.
Which is completely valid. We have another room on our house that he's fully welcome to go, and I'll take my office and move it into the Mario Kart room. So that's not really a problem. We have contingency plans in place.
I love it, man. Yeah. You guys, you clearly think it all through, all the way through. So, well, awesome, guys. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I want you to enjoy what's left of WorkbenchCon. But yeah, if you don't mind, just give our audience one last time where folks can find you.
So for me, Donovan, I'm mainly on Instagram and on YouTube. My handle is Once Upon a Workbench, and I have a website that's in redevelopment right now. So there's going to be a lot of new content coming out, a lot of new stuff. So be on the lookout for that.
Looking forward to seeing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can find my stuff at Geeksmithing on YouTube, Instagram, and other platforms. And we also co-host another podcast that we mentioned before, which is the Making Geeks podcast, which is about finding a balance of being raising a family, having creative interests, and the balance and finding the balance of those things. So we like making things, and we want to raise our kids to be a little geeky. Don't shy away from geeky interests. Like
Absolutely.
Let it fly. And so we are geeks who make things, and we're making geeks. So it's sort of like a wordplay thing in there. So in addition, with our other podcast mate, Sean from Geek Builders.
Awesome.
We always work together and kind of have a lot of fun and
clearly
enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah.
Too much fun.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being on, fellas. And I hope you have a good rest of the conference. It's been awesome playing the game and getting to know you guys better this year. So
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Organization Conversation is brought to you by Wall Control, a family-owned and operated producer of best-in-class wall-mounted organizers for your home or business, made right here in the USA. To learn more, go to wallcontrol.com.